Order of the Dauphin County Board of Commissioners 2026 budget hearings for Thursday, November 13th, 2025. We're going to begin by a little brief update on our budget situation that we've been doing for each of our um, budget hearings that we've had. The Chief Clerk, Mr. Haggerty, will go ahead and share that.
Thank you, Commissioner. We are here today for our third and final round of departmental budget hearings for Dauphin County. We have a pretty challenging financial picture ahead of us for the next 3 years and budgets that the current board will be adopting. We are projecting a $28 million deficit for 2026, a $37 million deficit for 2027, and a $43 million deficit for 2028. So nearly $110 million in shortfalls over the next 3 years that we will need to identify ways to either cut costs or increase revenue in order to make our budget balance. So we anticipate ending 2025 with a little under $14 million left in our general fund. So obviously, if we were to actually proceed with a budget for next year that was $28 million out of balance, the county would run out of general fund dollars early to mid spring. So we've got our work cut out for us, and that's kind of the context in which we are having these departmental hearings.
Begin with Rich Farr from CAT.
So, excuse me, Commissioner, your mic's muted.
That's all right. I answered anything.
Well, yes, we are, but that's okay. What was that? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We're going to begin with Rabbit Transit, Rich Farr.
I'll jump in real quick here. So the budget for 2025 was $529,950, which is what we're going to end year end since that's our annual stipend. Tab 38, sorry for those with binders. For 2026, they are requesting $868,537. The additional $300,000 of that request is a one-time request for the Harrisburg facility, which is the cause of such a high increase.
And honestly, that could potentially be divided up over 3 years. So we could. I just need to have that amount in hand by the end of the project. So, that could help ease the burden if we need to do that.
Can you, just for folks who are not familiar with the project you're referencing, can you explain?
Yes. So on Cameron Street, we are constructing a new facility, utilizing a lot of federal and state, but as with all transit programs, there's a local component that matches the state funds. And so we are seeking $300,000 from each of the three partners, so the city as well as Cumberland County, and that is the required local match for that portion. And so, again, we could potentially divide that up over a couple years, 2 to 3 years if we need to. We just need to have it all of it in hand. We should have a portion of it each year to match the funds that we're drawing down. But the project doesn't happen to day one, right? It'll go over a couple years.
So if we did 100,000 per year, that could potentially work.
I think that would be great.
One question I would like our team to explore is whether or not we could use pre-existing bond proceeds to potentially serve as a local match for this instead of general funds. But that's on us, I think, to get an answer to.
Any questions of Mr. Farr?
I saw you made a request to talk to us about a letter of support for the continuation of a veterans ride program to be able to provide opportunities for veterans to go and get medical services and receive a level of services. If you're prepared to today, could you provide, I mean, my
You can talk at a high level. I don't have details, but yes.
like generally the concept is something I fully support. But in order for me, particularly in a difficult fiscal position that the county's in, I'd like to know sort of the success of the program, what the required contribution is and what we've annually provided to this, and then finally with the uh, ability to access additional revenues, what would the county be required to commit to from a sustainability perspective? So those were the questions I had. If you can answer those, if you
Absolutely.
can't, we can do it at another time.
No, the good news is, only thing I'm asking from you is a letter of support. So there's no additional county dollars needed in this program. And so how it worked, if you recall, several years ago, we did get a startup grant from you to kick the program off, and it's been growing ever since. And I'll send you that information afterwards. How it works is a couple different things. So we look to see if the veteran qualifies for any other additional current program, the lottery dollars that we provide, persons with disabilities. If they qualify for any other program, they write under that, and their copay, because there's a 15% copay requirement, the grants that we're applying from the state for, covers that. If they don't qualify for any program, then it covers the full cost of the trip. And these folks are primarily going to the Lebanon hospital, and that's the main thing. We have started doing some um, uh, subsidy for fixed route passes for veterans going to work. So we have a step down program where we maybe the first month we pay for the full cost of the pass, and then over the course of the next several months we wean it down to where they're then fully engaged in employment, we hope, and they're able to pay for their own fares. So that's a newer program that we kicked off, and it's going pretty well. So, again, the good news is there's no, I'm not seeking or will seek any additional dollars outside of the match that we're asking here, because that supports the core program. This is just above and beyond funding we're looking for to fill gaps that traditional transit funding doesn't take care of.
And Rich, I've said this before. I think, I want to thank you and your leadership to herd cats literally in the multi-county region to build those kind of partnerships and to have a level of credibility in trying to continue to operate in a more regional fashion. Our goal was, and our belief was still, from a transit perspective, to be able to jump on. If you get at Harrisburg International Airport, you jump on a bus and you could visit, Amish country. You could go to the Gettysburg battlefield. You could be in Reading, and you could do it if you didn't have a car and you needed some level of public transportation. I know we're getting closer to hopefully that realization, but there's also the challenges of running local service, and that is the huge concern. So could you just sort of from another larger perspective familiarize us with the sort of the local challenges, the fixed routes, whether or not in the upcoming planning process you have any routes that you're looking to change? I mean, sort of put that on the public record.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're doing a lot of planning. The catalyst is the new building. We need a transfer center that functions, and Market Square doesn't do that for us. And so constructing a new transit center, and we're currently rehabbing the Lemoyne Transfer Center about 168 times a day we cross the river. Every route seems to have to cross that. Why? We could have a bus every 15 minutes connecting Lemoyne Transfer Center to the new Cameron Street Transfer Center every 15 minutes and still not have that number. All of those resources are going to be redeployed in the community. So we're going to really overhaul the transit system. We have a project that we're calling the High Intensity Mobility Corridor Study, and we've been working on it. We're in the final phase now. On January is when we expect to get the report. Lots of community involvement, lots of local municipal involvement. The idea is to look at these corridors that are higher intensity value and what can we do to improve the frequency on those. Now, it wouldn't be every route, right? It's the ones that are used most. And so we're looking at that. That's one of the things we're working on, really looking at how do we remove fare paying barriers. Right now, you can pay your fare, 6 different ways with us, and they're all complicated. So we're moving to a new fare collection system in March. That's the same system that Lancaster County uses. And our goal is a year after that, your pass will be a regional pass. You pay a fare here, you can ride anywhere. The connectivity, make it all work together. Lebanon is probably on board for that next. And so we're really working not just within our own system for that, but beyond that. Looking at the shared ride program, the first few years that I was here, we were trying to clean up our house. Like, we had a lot of work to do. So now we're moving forward where we have erased the municipal boundaries in the shared ride program. the closest driver provides the trip. So it could be a Perry County driver, it could be an Adams County driver who's coming up to the hospital. If instead of just sitting out here, we're really making a difference. And I'm really proud of this. We just finished our Act 44 performance review that PennDOT's required to do. And they noted in the plan that our revenue vehicle hour cost in 2019 was 120, and 2024 is 109. Right. It's efficiencies. Now, I like to say next year I come back and tell you it's 107. I'm beginning to feel like we've run out of things to squeeze. Like we're getting there, but it's those efficiencies while improving the quality of service, and we still have a long ways to go. I mean, I meet Bonnie a couple times, right? And the northern county needs more. We got to figure out what that looks like, right? So I wouldn't say we're cleaning up and we're expanding and we're going to continue to grow and try to meet needs in a cost-effective way, but we're on the right track.
In the past we've had some union contract issues and all that. Are we fine through the contract?
It was tough.
I know.
Right, the first contract, it was unwieldy. Change of culture, and we haven't arrived on the culture piece yet. And I want to touch on that just briefly. But we just finished negotiating a contract a couple weeks ago, and before I could stand up, the team came across the room and shook my hand and thanked me. That's progress. That's progress. But I still have the culture of, in other counties, when I ask my drivers, what do you do? Those answers are typically, we change people's lives. I'm still getting answers here, I drive a bus. We haven't made it yet. When I ask a Dauphin County employee, what do you do here? And they tell me we change lives, we've arrived. We're not there yet. We're working on it, right? Because we do change lives.
I think your competence and ways that you've pulled this region together. Now, the only final question is sort of where's the Lancaster Berks alignment, and
we will probably partner.
Understood. As long as we're working towards levels of partnership and sort of interoperability, that's progress too.
Yeah, we work together all the time, Greg and I. The whole fare collection thing, we're going to make sure that, again, their pass works on our system, but right now our biggest connection in our system is actually Columbia, right? So it's York County, Route 30. And so we make sure that our routes align, it's timed, you can transfer back and forth, we wait for each other's vehicles. So that's our first thing, and we're just going to continue to build those relationships.
Thank you.
I know Kat was mentioned earlier, and the work that you've done since we first met several years ago has been like herding cats, and you've done a tremendous job.
Thank you.
I can remember
Rabbit fashion.
Yes. So George brought up the veterans topic. Was it that long ago that we all had a press conference in the parking lot of Burger King?
I think it was
on Paxton Street when you were able to come up with a plan to transport our veterans to the VA hospital, and then Burger King was giving them free meals too. And then here we are today. And back then, I remember Tony DeFrancesco and Tom Carew, our two-man Veterans Affairs Department, would personally transport in their own vehicles the veterans from the Harrisburg area down to Lebanon. So we've come a long way, and thank you for putting us in this position today where we have a new center coming and a lot of good work happening.
Yeah, good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. I have nothing else.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right, appreciate your time.
And what I heard from our chief clerk is that we'll try to figure out the best option to have the least amount of impact. And I would recommend as one commissioner that we try to space these payments out over 3 years.
Right, and we'll continue to work on what that looks like to ease the burden where we can. Excellent.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, thank you.
Next up is pretrial services. Shannon Gibb.
All right. We're on tab 39. 2025 estimates. We're estimating them to come in $339 under budget. For 2026, their request is $23,158 over 25, or 3.02%. The majority of that increase is just simply the I want to call them program costs and operations for services they're providing.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Anything to share before we ask questions?
We're actually going to be coming in much more under budget than was estimated. We had two positions that we had difficulty time filling. We did just fill one. We're holding off on the other one, following in line with the county with a hiring freeze and just holding off for a while, and especially until we can get the new person started and trained anyway. So we're actually going to be able to come in probably closer to 50,000 under budget, if not more. But I can safely say we'll come in 50,000 under budget this year. We were able to cut some costs for next year. Once I have those figures, I might be able to revise next year's budget and bring that down a little bit too.
Okay. My colleagues have any questions?
You know how I feel about your operation. I just want to make sure that being down a person and saving money isn't costing us, because every person that you engage with and figure out ways to provide alternative options outside of formal incarceration, I think are longer term liability and other dollars that are saved. So I think you've done an exceptional job.
Thank you.
And I don't see your office as necessarily expense. I see it as an investment in better utilization and ways to put people in positions to not just have, incarceration be the end of the line related to community rehabilitation. So,
Yes. Thank you.
any challenges besides staffing levels? How we doing with risk assessments
Well, the
and
risk
I know we're down
assessments-
MDJs.
Yes. Yeah, the MDJ situation is always interesting. But we're still working with them. I'm still working with Dr. Lee on the statistics from the risk assessments and in ways that we can present those to the MDJs that still aren't quite following in line with the risk assessments so that we can get a little bit more buy-in from them. But otherwise, it's just maintaining for us. And I think we've gotten pretty good over the years of figuring things out as we go, making do with what we've got. We've got a good staff. Our newest hire this year is working out really well. And then with the new hire that's coming on, we'll be back to a staff with a bilingual person in the office, which was key for us. We were having to rely on Google Translate quite a bit. But we'll be able to get back to having a bail supervisor that is bilingual. We could actually hire us with that empty position, one that spoke Nepali, that would be worth their weight in gold.
Yep.
But as is, we make do, and we've been able to do that, and we're not suffering. I don't think we're all maintaining, and morale is actually pretty good in the office.
Great. Good report.
Thank you.
Shannon, every year you come here, I pretty much say the same thing. I mean, reviewing your goals and objective statement for this year on an annual basis, you exceed those goals and objectives, and you've done so again. So
Thank you.
keep up the great work, you and your
Very
team.
much.
Is there any way that you've ever sought to, directly kind of reach out to the Nepali community? Like, if you need help with that, please let us know. Like, we can try to get you connected with, you might already be connected, but I think the Harrisburg area Bhutanese community, we can try to get you connected. They might know someone who fits the qualifications of what you're looking for that also might be able to provide interpretation, and it might be a good fit. I don't
I
know.
know, Anna, we have had a lot of, unfortunately, the defendants on for the DUI program that our office does. And through that, Anna has been able to work with some relationships with some people that have been very helpful to us. Right. And she's been reaching out to them and trying to make sure that, any avenues that we can make some inroads in that community, that those doors are open for us.
When you do post the position, once the hiring freeze is lifted, please don't hesitate to send that listing to me, and I can try to just get it out into that community to see if there's any interest, because if that would be a resource for y'all to have somebody who can translate and follow that.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure they're aware in the event that there's someone there who's qualified for that job and might also check that box as well.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
I have no other questions. Anyone else? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up is victim witness, Amy Rosenberry.
For 2025, we're estimating revenue under budget $52,133. Expenses we're estimating over $9,325, or 0.68%. For 2026, revenue is down. We requested $202,317 under 2025, and expenses down $126,453. No new positions, merit increases, or items requested. The 2026 budget as shown requires $438,285 of county funds, which is an increase of $66,559, or 17.9% over the current 2025 budget. The revenue request for the JAG grant is based on actual funds received for 2025. The U.S. Department of Justice has not released figures for 2026, but it is expected that it will not go down. Funding is based on the uniform crime reports for the city of Harrisburg. The overall decrease to the RASA grant is due to the establishment of the Local Victim Service Fund. The grant allocation has been reduced, and the funds that were received as part of this grant are now under the authority of the county DA. Guidelines state that the use of all money received for this fund must be in accordance with RASA guidelines. Funding for the Violent Crimes Task Force has been removed as it is no longer funded through the county's DA's gaming allocation due to the DA's allocation steadily decreasing over the years. This funding was used to cover the costs of one advocate in Harrisburg City. The large increase in the organizations line in the 291000 cost center is due to the continued 5% reduction of federal funds through PCCD. As a result of these cuts and to maintain the current level of staffing, Victim Witness is requesting funds from the county and juvenile and PFA to cover positions that were previously covered by VOCA or the RASA VOJO funds. Accounting, leasing, and supply costs has also been included in 2026 as the alternative funding sources from 2025 have been completely exhausted.
That's a lot.
Prior to us asking any questions, did you have any update?
I don't. No.
Okay.
After all that, you have no update?
He gave a pretty good summary of an update there.
It's he basically said it all. It would be nice to have a year without creative budgeting, but I know that you all share my pain in that.
But what I'm seeing from the budget here is you're decreasing your request for expenses by $126,000, and you also have a $200,000 decrease in your revenue.
That's correct.
So what's that about? I'll do the math. You can go ahead and keep talking. I know you face a lot of challenges,
Sure.
growing concerns, and you're the other side of ensuring. While we talk about criminal justice reform and we want to see rehabilitation, you have the responsibility of dealing with folks that didn't ask to be victims.
Exactly. Yes.
And so tell me, sort of the challenge besides just fiscal challenges, staffing, but additional responsibilities, a caseload.
Sure.
Give us an update of the department.
We are actually doing quite well when it comes to managing caseloads. We have been very fortunate to retain advocates over the years that have become skilled in their craft and also work very well together as a team in order to tackle the caseload that is upon us in these difficult times. I would say that our concerns and challenges that we face have been the same for many years. Housing, shelter. It seems that we spend an awful lot of time looking for housing for reentry folks, and homeless people and veterans, all of which are worthy causes, but there is very little available in Dauphin County for victims of domestic violence or other crimes where they need to flee the home that they've known, and we just have a very difficult time finding shelter for them. We have been fortunate this year for Randy Yeager and Human Services to take that challenge of ours into consideration and trying to help us with some of the grant funds that they have. It's just there isn't much available in Dauphin County. So, but we are happy to have partners in the quest to find a way to meet those needs.
So you say that there's not that much available in Dauphin County. Is there things that other counties are doing that are allowing for the additional resources to occur outside of general fund, or do they have more support from? It's just a Dauphin County specific concern you're raising.
No.
Okay.
I'm sure those other counties have the same challenges. And when I say that there are resources in other counties, not from the counties themselves, I mean different community based organizations that have shelters or transitional housing, things like that, that are available to. Uh, Not only to victim witness, but to more
Survivors of domestic violence.
survivors
particularly.
of domestic violence, and I would say that they gear more towards people who are from that county, that specific county, um, and the fact that there is not a lot of available shelter here in Dauphin County is not a commissioner's
Sure.
issue. It's just there's
No,
not much space, and the community-based organizations just aren't here.
and that wasn't. I just want to learn always in
Sure,
budget hearings as well.
absolutely, and we
If there's
appreciate
other
that.
available resources or things that we are missing out on, and one of the things is we do a housing study, a comprehensive housing study. We just completed one, adding the need for this specific types of housing and partnerships with nonprofits. I'm looking at Randy
Hmm.
as a as a priority for that kind of development should be something that we include in those kinds of needs assessments. And as we have folks that approach our Affordable Housing Trust Fund and other boards, we can ask them, if we're targeting, attempting to try to fill this need, whether or not they consider a part of this. Um, there has to be a level of special needs
Sure.
with protection and security based upon the risk of domestic violence survivor that may be needed in these kinds of developments. So that's something we should continue to keep in our planning mode
And,
uh,
and
and try to
Randy
build
has
out.
been most helpful this year, her entire department, in finding different resources for us and including us at the table when discussions are taking place.
And I remember when we tried to move a shelter in northern Dauphin County, they were harassed and moved out by local folks. I mean, uh, we, that's also a concern, particularly in rural areas. So
Yes,
finding solutions need to be a priority. Thank you.
absolutely.
I have no questions. Any questions?
I've been giving out kudos to departments that have earned it. A lot of them have. Almost all of our departments are doing an outstanding job. Yours is another one of them. Again, run efficiently and effectively. The individuals that you deal with on a daily basis are sometimes having some of those traumatic experiences in their life, and you folks are genuinely professional and compassionate in your handling of those individuals, just like PD's office and others that have been here and will be here today. So I want to say thank you to the great work that you've done
Thank you.
the time you've been here.
Appreciate it very much. Commissioner, I would also be interested in sending you some information on the Bhutanese and Nepali community as well.
Definitely.
It's one of our issues as well.
Yeah.
We have 4 Spanish speaking advocates and 1 French speaking advocate, and we had a Nepali speaking advocate for about 9 months until she went off to college to further her degree, and it's just so difficult, very difficult. Even Language Line has a lack of Nepali translators for us to use. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you for all the work that you and your office do. I've seen the professionalism, and yeah, thankful for you, and thanks for being here today and
absolutely.
sharing with us.
Appreciate it. Thank
And
you.
next up, we have the Public Defender's Office, Mary Clark.
This is me, tab 41. Revenue for 2025, we're estimating $500 over budget. Expenses, we're estimating under approximately $600,000. For 2026, revenue, I believe that grant did just get extended, correct?
Correct.
So there'll be $50,500 for 2026 as their indigent defense grant got extended for another year. And then expenses, their operations is requested as an increase of $139,293. They have merit increases to 8 full-time staff for a total of $31,289. The merit increases above would be funded through savings achieved from senior staff leaving at higher salaries. There would be a savings to the county with all the changes of approximately $38,000 due to the staffing turnover. The PCCD grant for the behavioral health public defender position expired September 2025. This employee to one of the vacant staff positions that have been held open within their general fund budget. So that does not cause an increase. And then note 3, that grant has been awarded for 2026. So that's the 50,000 that I'm referencing in revenue.
Welcome. Anything
good
to share with
afternoon.
us before we begin asking some questions?
Just a few highlights. One, I'm not asking for any additional funding this year. I think what you're seeing and what we're hearing in a nutshell is that other than the ordinary cost of vendor increases and services, we aren't asking for anything over and above what we have. I have to say that all three of you have really helped us with our retention efforts. Um, Allowing me some latitude to restructure positions and make those more aligned with their job duties that actually came at a savings to the county. And then allowing me to use some of those funds that were already in my budget to reallocate those where they were needed most. So that has been a huge help overall. I do want to address the vacancies in the office. Those are actually misleading on paper. One of them can be eliminated entirely. I know Commissioner Hartwig is well aware that whenever the behavioral health attorney grant came through, it came through sort of as a newly created position. For whatever reason, we kept it on the books, but that can be removed. And to the extent there are other vacancies, those are spoken for, but due to the hiring freeze, which we voluntarily opted into, we are not currently asking to fill those. Perhaps we can revisit it in the new year if or when the county is in a better position to do that. So I think what I'm most excited to report is that you've really helped with us getting more experienced staff. It says something whenever a public defender's office, when we're all suffering across the state, can attract private practitioners who are really great attorneys to come into our office because they are seeing the benefits of the quality of work that we can do and the compensation and just the work environment in general. So I'm excited about that, and that's one of the positives I wanted to report.
That's great. This year, I believe you and I went and met with multiple reps and did what we could to advocate for more funding for public defenders' offices across the Commonwealth.
Right.
It might be worth just updating the public and those here in the room of the realities across the country of how most states fund public defenders' offices, but the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania does not. And they've opened up this indigent defense grant. But it's $50,000. It goes very. I don't know. I didn't look at all the details of yesterday's budget, but I don't know that it increased much. Was it flat funded or what was it?
I believe you are correct. However, I haven't seen the details yet or have received confirmation as to what we will get. I know that in 2026 the grant has been extended, but that was carryover from the last budget.
Yeah, and in most states, I'm correct to say in most states, the states fund the public defender's office, not the counties.
That's correct. All but 2 states, Pennsylvania being one of them, does not receive state funding. So this is really a monumental thing. And, the purpose of it is obviously morale, retention, of course, reducing caseloads per attorney, and compensation and other office supplies and needs that just can't come from the general funding of a county budget, whether it's software or even a paid intern to help review records we've used some of that grant funding this year to bring on 2 paid interns. One has a master's degree in forensic psychology, and the other one is a master's degree student in social work. When I know, we're all passionate about the help that we can give to the mental health community, these are employees who really help us with those clients.
I certainly am thankful for the 50,000. I just want to point out though that while other 48 states across the country are looking at you know, what we're looking at here, 5.3 million, 5.4 million, that's funded by the state, not funded by the county. That would be a $5 million difference in our budget if our state did it like most other states.
Yes.
And while 50,000, I'm thankful for, it's a drop in the bucket compared to what could really actually, you know, fund your office from a state perspective. I just think it's worth
Right.
stating in the sense that this is, you know, constitutionally afforded right to an attorney, and certainly I think we're we're excited to fund your office in the sense that like we know this is necessary
Right.
for our courts, but we also think it should be a shared burden. At least I do, and I was happy to advocate with you, and we'll continue to advocate for the state funding
Yeah.
your office. And thank you for all the work that you guys
Well,
do. I
thank
was in
you.
the
Yeah.
elevator with some PDs this afternoon. Always great to run into y'all. So I'll hand it over to my colleagues.
Yeah, I happened to be reading an article recently on Penn Live about I believe, a double homicide coming up, a case coming up where I believe the district attorney is going to be going after the death penalty. And the reason I bring that up is because I didn't hear it in that presentation, but I'm pretty sure that those types of cases directly impact your budget.
Yes.
And if that were to occur, if it follows through and it happens, what will the impact be above and beyond what you had presented prior?
It's going to cause part of our funding request to balloon, essentially. There are constitutional requirements to have certain experts involved in death penalty cases. One of those is a mitigation expert. I can tell you that reviewing cases, death penalty cases in years past, we have spent easily $100,000 on mitigation experts, people who can compile a client history and make sure that they have all of the proper psychological and psychiatric evaluations, excuse me, to make sure that the death penalty is even appropriate. As you know, we set aside $50,000 for expert funding for the more sophisticated cases or the more complicated cases where we need that funding. We aren't supposed to use that, though, unless it's absolutely necessary. So I would be coming to you asking for a lot of additional funding for those experts. One of the unknown or one of the hidden costs is that it also puts a number of attorneys out of commission in terms of handling other cases. Death penalty cases require literally thousands of hours of work. They endure for years before they're resolved because they're so complicated. And what happens is that if we were to receive this case, my two most experienced attorneys will be handling that death penalty case and neglecting all of the other homicides and significant felony cases that they have. So, as opposed to being able to move those inmates from the prison, now we have to divide those because the other two attorneys are going to largely be devoted just to that death penalty case. It's that much work and it's that expensive. Unfortunately, we've seen an increase, I would say, in the past 12 to 18 months of death penalty cases coming into the county. Not all of them are being handled by our office. One was conflicted out, which will still come at a cost to the county through conflict counsel and who has to pay for the experts in that matter. Fortunately, we've been through the mitigation process a number of times where we can internally do what we can to save money by collecting records and things of that nature, but we wouldn't be meeting constitutional standards without the use of a number of experts. So we do the best we can, but I don't see a way to avoid having to come before you and unfortunately ask for increased funding.
And the reason I'm asking that is because I'm just looking at your budget from 2025, and you're projected to be under $600,000 in your budget. But as we go into 2026, these types of costs could come up, which you're going to have to pay. We're going to have to pay for it if, in fact, it comes to that conclusion.
Correct. And one area where we would be particularly strapped in the expert funding is we've had several significant cases that have been highlighted in the media where unfortunately they may require expert funding as well. So when you pile on a death penalty case, it is what it is, but it is a financial burden to the
Right.
county.
I just want to say that because this is a public meeting, and just so public's aware that there could be extraneous costs outside of your control that we're
Right.
going to have to pay for.
Yeah, Mary, I've looked at a number of departments related to growth and expenditures, and folks are keep saying they can't keep up, they can't compete, they can't get staff. And I think your approach has been one that I don't want to put you in a bad position, but that other folks should pay attention to, because professionalizing the operations, figuring out ways to pay folks more, and having senior level staff that have more career uh, piece requires you to have maybe potentially less people on the battlefield, and at least some level of mentorship and ability to process through work in a way that may reduce overall costs or at least stabilize the operations.
Right.
I've seen some budgets double in the last 5 years, which is unreal. But yours remains consistent, stable, and I think you brought a talent level that is able to help sustain the significant amount of your operation. Not that you're not challenged, not that we don't have continuances, not that we're not running around
Right.
trying to meet our legal obligations under the Constitution, but I think from a structural perspective, the way you're viewing the future related to the office and potentially county government is one that I think could be a way, and I think maybe the only way, if we're going to be asked to sustain the level of service we are with less monies, that are going to be able to exist. So, it's not necessarily about not paying people more. It may be
Right.
paying higher level staff in key roles more, but reducing the overall complement in order to manage the workload and the flow. And those are things that we'll continue to press, and hopefully in our oversight responsibilities use as a model to try to restrict or focus the size of government.
No, thank you so much. And again, you've allowed me that latitude and creativity, so I appreciate you entrusting me with that.
It's hard to find people at the entry level at any job. I guess I
Right.
shouldn't say this on TV, but I saw a meme today where somebody said, we appreciate you and we value your work, and we're going to pay you, at $10 an hour. And he said, 6 months, we're going to pay you $25 an hour. When do you start? The response was 6 months. So
Right. Yeah.
you're not going to find those starting level individuals at the base level to fill out the majority of the jobs. We've got to figure out a way to reduce the complement, move folks into that next level. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
All right. Thank you.
Yes,
Next up, we have the Solicitor's Office,
it was a pretty
Matt
funny
Owens.
So when are you going to accept the job? He said, in 6 months.
Going to be tab 42 in your binder. Expenses for 2025, we're estimating under budget $135,238. 2026 expense request is $83,937 under 2025, or 9.77%. You did ask for 2 merit increases, one for the chief solicitor, one for an assistant solicitor, at a total of $13,371. The large decrease you see in the books and periodicals line is due to the reduction in the number of legal updates received and only keeping 1 record set in office. The large decrease in contracted legal services is due to a reduction in county litigation and increased items being handled in-house by staff versus outside attorneys.
I'll just begin by saying, on that second point, the large decrease in county litigation and the increase in things being handled internally by staff. I think that's a really good trend to see the way that you've run the office and brought people in that ultimately are driving those costs down. So we're not sending as much out, but we're doing more internally. I like that trend. That's my only comment. Anyone else?
What can you report to us? We speak so infrequently.
That's funny. It remains an honor and a privilege to serve this board and Dauphin County. The theme, I guess, for today and really for my office is to do more with less. When I came in as an assistant, there were 5 attorneys. I have 4 attorneys. I think we're perfectly staffed at 4. We've created a team with 4 lawyers that have dramatically different backgrounds, which I've been able to sort of categorize the legal work across the 4. We've become very efficient. So the solicitor's office, again, I can't speak from firsthand knowledge before I came here, but my goal was to run it like a law firm. And I believe we've gotten to that point. And I've a lot of experience running law firms over the past 30 years. And I'd like to think we are a well-oiled machine at this point. I know one of the concerns was having an attorney present for questions at any time, because it really is kind of an on-call job, whether we're here or not. But we've created a schedule now with mandatory hours. Emergencies come up, people need to go to court, things like that. But I think that has helped in terms of efficiency and being available to answer questions. So
you got a great proposal to cut about $2 million out of the budget.
Well, interesting you ask, and Commissioner Douglas commented on this. We have handled a lot more internally. We've taken steps and engaged in strategies to sort of limit outside litigation and try to eliminate claims before they become lawsuits. And so, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. In 2023, you spent almost $350,000 in outside special counsel, and the next year it was $136,000. So it's projected for 2025 to be $200,000, which is still hundreds of thousands of dollars under. So I mean, if we continue that way, we're saving a lot of money. So again, I can't sprinkle magic dust on Dauphin County. You could get a $10 million lawsuit tomorrow. I can't prevent that, but we're taking steps to handle it in the most efficient way and cost-effective way. So.
I've got nothing else.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next up, Human Services, Randy Yeager.
Revenue for 2025, we're estimating under $887,352. Overall, with grants included, under $550,902. For 2026, overall, and this is due mainly to ERAP, revenue is down $6.3 million from the prior year. Expenses requested $6.4 from 2025. The large difference in grant figures is due to the remaining CARES Act emergency rental grants being paid in 2025. The position shown under the UPMC ERAP grant and salary listing is being converted into a SOAR MATP/VIP funded position. This conversion will have no impact to the general fund and will be entirely program funded. Since the majority of the salary and benefit costs of the department are charged back to Human Services departments, this could prove problematic if the state does not pass a budget and release funding in Human Services. The $400,000 you see in the line bad debt expense is related to the deposit for the building on Techport. Without this charge, estimated expenses for 2025 would have been $152,142, and they would have been approximately $69,000 under budget. And just the reason it was placed in their budget was per the advice of bond counsel and our auditors and conforming with accounting standards.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Anything to share with us before we get started?
I think one of the things, so we are all on the same page, is that our department, we have positions and they have titles, but honestly, it's just all hands on deck all the time. And so everybody answers the phone, everybody takes walk-ins, and those situations increase literally every week. You heard some comments about housing concerns across our community. We field those situations every day. We have one housing specialist, and she does a great job receiving referrals from all of our human service departments, but she's one person. So we all chip in and help out where needed. The emergency rental utility assistance program was a great asset to our community. But even with all of that funding, we have increased the available units for low income housing for the next 20 years, but we still have hundreds of folks in need of housing. There were some comments earlier from our friend Amy, and there are some nonprofit organizations that will be coming online in January, and it doesn't involve any county funding. We actually just met with that particular program. I think it was Monday, actually, and they're seeking a small contract with children and youth, which would be a great benefit to our families who need that service. Instead of hotel rooms, we can put them in these transitional housing units. And there'll be 57 units total, but they will be coming online in increments because we can't have 57 families all move in at the same time. There's a lot of work being done with a very small but mighty department. And I, again, thank you all for the opportunity for me to try to lead this effort, but quite frankly, it's really about teamwork.
I couldn't agree more. That was very well said. And I want to thank Commissioner Hartwick for his decades of oversight in human services. I've had the honor of serving in oversight of several of the areas this year, and Commissioner Hartwick is back involved as well. But the work that you and your team, you use the word team, do is pretty exemplary, above board, professional. Anytime I need anything from a resident, I can contact you or some of your directors, and you're responding literally within the hour with the information those individuals require. Sometimes it's not what they want to hear, but you always provide them answers, and I couldn't be happier with the work that you do for us here at the county. Thank you.
I'll echo that. You've been incredibly helpful for Allison and myself whenever we have a constituent reach out, where best to plug them in. Very responsive, and certainly all the work we did for the unhoused. I got to know you pretty well just by consistently going to meetings with that. Very impressed by your leadership and the leadership of your office. And so we know the challenge right now is that funding in a lot of places is drying up while the need is increasing. And we know you feel that pressure. We feel it too. And we're thankful for the work you're doing, but we know it's becoming increasingly challenging. And I'm hopeful that there's some relief coming in some form in the future. But thank you for all you do to meet people many times in the most challenging moments. It really does mean a lot. You represent the county well in doing that. So thank you.
Thank you.
I know how much your staff does and how much you sacrifice and how many things that you deal with in the course of a day. It's like the end all, catch all, be all for every issue that continues to be passed on to every organization that claims no responsibility, but you're not going to let people suffer. So thank you to your staff for your heart, passion, and efforts to try to be at least some portion of the solution in a myriad of community problems that continue to get more complex, and the reliance of your office continues to grow. And we have no money to perform the services. So
I think we just need to get really, really creative. You know, I've had conversations with
the
some
skins off of you. You do our creative. I know the stress level you undertake.
Yeah.
I feel it. So I mean, I know you continue to get more creative, Randy. And the challenge we have as commissioners and with the incredible committed staff is that there's no emergencies that occur.
Yeah.
As we continue to see more of a burden and more of a cost shift with people who are solving actual problems. So we care about our people. You demonstrate that along with your staff every day.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you, Randy. Next up, we have Veteran Affairs, Tom Carrillo.
There going to be tab 44 in your binder. There is no revenue associated with this department, so expenses for 2025 is estimated under $13,318. The expense request for next year is requested under $12,298 under 2025. Part of the reason for the large overall decrease in costs is due to staff opting out of health benefits. 2026 is the third final year of the contract for the flag purchase for veterans' graves. A public bid will go out towards the end of the year for another 3-year term. The conference, training, and mileage costs have been removed for 2026 at the department's request, as they will not be attending.
Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Yeah, Tom, I say it often, but some of the folks that are in the room right now have not heard this, but the work that you and your other individual on your team, John, do is remarkable. The numbers have increased since you've been here from 200,000 in veterans benefits the first year to over $10 million this past year, and I think that number might even exceed that. I was just walking down the hall the other day when a lady was on the phone with Tom crying because she was under the impression she couldn't get any benefits at all for something, and Tom got her almost all of the benefits that she deserves, and she was literally crying on the phone. It was pretty it was pretty neat to have that conversation with her as I was walking down the hall and popped in. And Tom, just this past weekend, past weekend I heard from Representative Mahaffey. There was a family in Dauphin County whose loved one, a highly decorated veteran. The family was told that they weren't able to provide the 21-gun salute due to staffing issues. I called Tom Carew, and Tom Carew called me back in an hour and said, there must have been a miscommunication because I have it taken care of. So I called the state representative, called the family, and they were very, very happy. So we went from having a very upset family of veterans to a very pleased family. So thank you for, again, getting right on top of things when I call you.
Tom, thanks for your leadership, the leadership of your office. Obviously, just recently celebrated in the Northern End Veterans Breakfast. You put that on and do a great job serving the vets here in Dauphin County. We're proud of you and proud of your office. And, I have no budget questions.
240,000. I take this return any day. $240,000 for an office expenditure to draw down $11 million in federal benefits. I mean, we all look at these things as expenditures. This is, real investment to be able to secure those resources for veterans of this county. And you found ways to forego additional expenses to cut your budget again this year. So you came in under budget last year. You're willing to sacrifice and be a part of the solution and continue to exceed those numbers. I think it's a credit to your operation.
Hey, the term was do less with less, right?
No, you're doing more or less.
We do our share. I mean, that's what it is. And just to echo Mike, that veteran that Mike's referring to, she came in my office after an agency told her, no, you don't have anything. There's really nothing there. And then we put in the claim for her. She got 80%. I mean, that's like over $2,000 a month for the rest of her life when she wasn't expecting anything. And I just told her, hey, let's put in these claims. Let's see what happens. I mean, that's what we do. And then the veteran, Mr. Spragnella, is that how you pronounce it? Something like that. Was a great guy. Yeah, it was just a big confusion. I got right on it, took care of it. He had a great ceremony on Veterans Day.
That's awesome. Thanks, Tom. There's nothing else from my colleagues. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Human Resources, Faye Fisher.
Good afternoon.
It would be tab 45. Revenue for 2025, we're estimating $1,250 over. Expenses, we're estimating $22,368 under. For 2026, revenue was requested with an increase of $1,200. Expenses are showing a decrease of $166,298. The large decrease, well, let me start. First, there was merit increases requested, a $1 increase for all staff, excluding director and assistant director. The total cost with payroll taxes would be $15,674. I'll apologize, it's not listed on here, but it is in the request report in the front of your binders, was an increase to the part-timer of $3,600, which with payroll taxes would be $3,875. They have a request for a new conference table at $500. The large decrease in salaries and benefits is due to the retirement manager, retirement payroll specialist, payroll manager, and HR generalist being transferred to the controller's office. And the large increase you see in consulting services is due to the addition of the ADP contract to process 1095C forms through Oracle.
Welcome.
Hi. I would like to just highlight some of the things that our HR staff have been working on over the past few months. We continue to streamline our HR processes to improve efficiency in the service that we provide. We are actively engaging in recruitment efforts to fill vacancies, including participation in multiple career events. And in light of the hiring freeze, we continue to recruit for positions that are not subject to the hiring freeze. We've also ramped up our recruitment efforts on social media and began advertising on CAT buses, or at least that's in the works. We've hosted our first hiring event, welcoming approximately 80 attendees over a 2-day period. We've held workplace violence prevention training and will soon hold sessions on harassment and discrimination. We are currently handling healthcare open enrollment, conducting multiple enrollment meetings to support our employees through the process, and highlighting our county benefits and associated changes. We've been involved in managing the transition to the new healthcare provider and ensuring a smooth transition for staff. We've also been involved in conjunction with IT, with our new vendor, who will handle our quarterly and yearly end taxes, our W-2 and 1095C processes, ensuring that we understand what their process is and providing them with the information that they need. We continually provide support and guidance to our department directors and employees on a wide range of human resources matters. And for months, we've been in negotiations with 4 union contracts, and it is our goal to hopefully reach agreements with all 4. And we continue on the process of updating our job descriptions, our employee handbook, and our policies and procedures, among other things.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want to speak a little bit to the transition of payroll has gone to the controller's office, and a little bit of when that happened throughout the year, at what point, and like how that's affected your office? Or
So actually, we don't have a date as to when the other 2 positions will be transferred from my office to the controller's office.
Okay.
But we have transferred the retirement. So there were
That's-
2 individuals, Harmonica and Brandy, who were transitioned over to the controller's office a few months back. And since that time, the one person, Harmonica, has separated from the county.
Mhm.
And so Mary and I have talked about transferring the payroll manager and the human resources generalist who handles payroll over to her department, but we have not determined a firm date.
But that's reflected in your budget,
That
correct?
is.
Yeah, I
yes.
just wanted to make sure.
I just asked what was the total salary transfer, and then what was the sort of, if there should be a wash and savings, correct?
I can add it up here quick for you, but there was no increase in costs. We just simply moved the positions and their total costs from one department to the other.
But the question we should see is if there's a correlated reduction of, let's just say, 3 positions for sense of, just this conversation. This is not the accurate number. Just say they were $100,000.
Mhm.
So there should be a $300,000 increase in the controller's budget, and there should be a sort of correlated $300,000 decrease in human resource budget.
That is correct.
And is that how this works out?
Yes.
So there's no additional expenses here. It's just a wash.
Yeah, this is just whatever phase budget is going down for those positions, the controller's office has increased.
But I just want to make sure that they are valid.
Yes, I
'Cause I
moved
thought
them.
there was some increases in a budget that did not offset dollar for dollar.
No, salary-wise, benefit-wise, these were dollar for dollar from HR to the controller's office. No increases in the move, The merit increases you see here requested are for staff remaining in her office, not anyone who's going to the controller's office.
Thank you, Faye.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, Risk Management, Mr. Haggerty. Sharon joining you. Fine. I didn't have you on my list, so I didn't know if you were just here for support or if you.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Welcome.
All right. So
Sharon will take the hard questions. I'll take the easy ones.
Yeah, please no.
okay, and that's how it will work out.
Are these new for 46 and 47? Okay.
And just so you know, the reason why I was asking this question.
I didn't think there was when we were looking at the controllers, right? I don't know that there is.
Let's not interrupt Mr. Haggerty's time. He's been
I know.
anxiously waiting this moment.
Take your time.
Mr. Haggerty, we see so little of you. We're looking forward to.
I'm here all day, so
Please state your name and address, please.
my 3
Give a
minutes
3
will
minute
start
3
now.
minute clock starts now. We're being live streamed.
My name is Eric Haggerty, Shy Poke.
All right. Before this gets out of hand. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, you want the Pam wants the timer because she goes.
Pam, please sit in that chair there.
From there and redistribute.
All right, I think we're ready. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thanks so much for the opportunity to present our proposed budget for the Commissioner's Office for next year. Really quickly, I've been here for 8 or 9 months now, and it's been an honor to get to know and work with all of you. I want to just take this moment to thank all the staff in your offices and our office for all the support and grace and kindness everyone has shown me in my time here. I've really enjoyed it, and thank you for the opportunity. Obviously, the county has faced pretty significant challenges in the last year. We have been on defense in many ways, but despite all of the challenges, I think there's a lot for us to be proud of as we think back on the last, year, preparing for next year. Even though we have had to continue to navigate really complicated issues relating to the state budget impasse, the federal government shutdown, our own internal systems with Oracle that make it challenging to get accurate information in a timely way so that we can all make the best decisions possible. I really do think that as much as, it's hard to sort of see how much progress we've made in the last year, I think there's a lot that we can all be proud of. We have issued or will soon issue RFPs for engineering. We've navigated a health insurance transition to Highmark. We are going to be issuing a deferred comp RFP. We've gotten competitive rates for other lines of insurance. We've navigated a really challenging and oftentimes headline-grabbing transition of prison medical services. We've opened up processes to the public that weren't before, such as board appointments and resume portals and job opportunities. Faye alluded to some recruitment and retention efforts. We've addressed capital project issues for our magisterial district judge offices and, elevator challenges in the courthouse. So as much as I know we all sort of tend to get mired in the day-to-day challenges that we're always trying to resolve, I do think it's important to take a minute and reflect on, how much progress we have made together over the last year. And I'm excited that I think next year, now that we've taken a bunch of these really difficult and complicated issues and continue to sort of chip away at a lot of them, I think next year we'll have the opportunity to be on defense less and more on offense in terms of being proactive about our internal operations and efficiencies and making sure we're doing the best job we can for residents and delivering good government that works as efficiently as possible. To that end, in this budget that I am presenting today for the Commissioner's Office, I've taken very seriously your charge to try to find the maximum amount of savings possible. So, what I'm presenting here, I think, is the absolute most bare bones budget that I could possibly conceive of. And so, this represents over an 11% decrease compared to our current year's budget. And to accomplish that, uh, we've sort of done five things, which would be we've identified an alternate funding source for half of one position in the office. As we've discussed earlier this year, we've eliminated the insurance program coordinator position. Um, this proposal foresees eliminating the press secretary position and having myself and others sort of take over a distribution of that work. This budget would not foresee hiring interns as we usually have, and I will voluntarily forego the standard 2.95% salary increase. So that was sort of everything that we could possibly think of to reduce expenditures in your office. And so I am proud to present you a budget that in our current financial sort of climate cuts our spending by over 11%. So happy to answer any questions you have.
I'll just begin by thank you for bringing us the absolute most bare bones, I think, looking at it that way and thinking about what we might be able to find a way to deliver when if there is something we want to add. That's better than looking at it and being like, what are we going to have to additionally cut? So we know it's a challenge, and many of these things you listed are going to have challenging consequences for efficiencies, but thanks for the work on this.
Just for the public record, I think it's important when we make requests of other departments that we demonstrate the willingness to be able to first demonstrate that through action within our own department. And it's a tough time to be in local government, not just here, but across the Commonwealth and across the nation. And as we rethink, employee benefits, we think, where do we find savings? I think it's important for us to serve as an example as it relates to doing more with less. It's not like you can send that message out and then have the exact opposite level of, projected increases within your own budget. And I just want to state for the record, over the last year, that the commissioner's office was down $350,000 in expenses as well. So that's going to be a positive variance to the budget that is also going to have an impact for this year's budget and the next year's budget, obviously being bare bones and having a $776,000 impact and variance to the positive related to those cuts as an example of what we were looking for with the same people that are in front of us now. We understand operations are varied in county government. Essential services are critical. And, if you talk to the public, elected officials are probably the areas they want to cut the most. But I think, with your creativity and the staff, the level of work you put in, I'm grateful that you are all here. I'm grateful for the work that you do and being creatively able to manage high levels and additional projects and ways that are providing results. And I think as I look around, all of you are professionals that have brought a level of professionalism to Dauphin County, despite sometimes the chaos, both self-inflicted and otherwise. You've remained stable in both your leadership and competence and level of work, and now are adding to that with a budget that's presented in a way that serves as an example. So thank you for your hard work, and thank you for your willingness to continue to push forward in keeping our county operational, at least from the fourth floor level. So appreciate you.
I echo those remarks. It was very eloquent and to the point, and I agree with what he said.
Thank you.
If there's nothing else, did you want to say anything, Sharon? You have anything to add?
For my budget, this has just been a year of learning for me and learning where numbers came from my predecessor. So I've worked hard on keeping it low just because of knowing I'm coming from budget and finance, but realistically, this is just a learning year and learning where everything came from. So that's kind of where I stand.
We appreciate the way you've entered into that role and grabbed the bull by the horns in a sense, because we know it was a pretty quick learning experience in the sense of adjustment. So thank you for your work there.
I'm
There's
most
nothing else.
excited about your little angel
Yeah, me too.
and the addition to our fourth floor that we are so excitedly anticipating. So
Yes.
keep that glow, and we're ready for her to arrive.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last but not least, budget and finance.
Got it all.
Mr. Davis.
Got it all.
Should have scheduled myself before Eric. That's going to be hard to follow. So for my office for 2025, we're expected 55,000 under revenue, but 123,000 under in expenses. You'll see revenues projected for 2026, $35,000 under. Expenses are 27,000 under. A lot of that has to do with purchasing. We've really worked to streamline, I'll say, our purchasing department, because the majority of those costs are the office supplies we order. We've really done a lot to strip it down to, I'll say, the essentials, and run it more like a business with a stock room versus just ordering everything every department once. It can be very costly if we were to order certain printer inks at $300 a piece, to stock 3 or 4 of them only for the department that uses them to get rid of the printer, and then we just have waste that we end up going in the trash. So we've gone more to keeping the most widely used items in stock, I'll say, and then facilitating those, I'll say, special requests through our vendors and our purchasing partners, in order to keep those costs off our budget and eliminate any waste that's necessary, or any waste that's there. 20% of the salary and benefits for our fiscal manager are charged to human services based on the work they do for drug and alcohol. Depending on how long this budget impasse lasts, could directly impact what we can charge off to drug and alcohol. The majority of the work is in payment tracking, vendor payment processing, and a lot of the other work that has ceased with, the lack of funds being provided. The part-time purchasing clerk position was eliminated when the person in that position separated from county employment. We've been able to handle that task in conjunction with the purchasing manager, delivering supplies in conjunction with facilities, who works to deliver outside the county, or outside the downtown complex, I'll say. And the co-op purchasing program we're looking to review, the way that handles, and even from a delivery fee standpoint, currently we allow outside agencies and municipalities to order things directly at cost, and they have been for quite some time. Even when I took over, delivered free of charge. So those are all things that are currently being looked at to be revised for 2026.
I'd be in support of an added fee for delivery. Can I ask just not necessarily a budget question, but kind of a budget question?
Mm-hmm.
With the state budget passing yesterday, how long do you anticipate it might take for reimbursements? Or maybe Eric is a better one to answer this. I'm just trying to understand, with that, is there going to still be a month before things get turned back on, or what's the typical, do we know? Is this a wrong thing to ask in this space?
No, no, it's a good question. I asked the same question. I think probably every person that works at the county has asked Randy Yeager this same question, so I piled on today also. The short answer is it'll depend on the funding stream. So some programs we expect funding pretty immediately. Others might take weeks or a month or two before payments actually reach us. So Randy and her team met today to map out exactly when we anticipate by funding stream those things, but over the next 6 to 8 weeks, I would expect.
Children is most critical.
Yep.
They have an advanced quarterly payment process that should be immediately moved forward, which is the lion's share of monies that we are, depending upon it to keep that $60 million operation going. I think aging is a lot less efficient. Drug and alcohol, mental health will be a little bit delayed.
looks like our cynicism yesterday worked out in the sense of maybe we should have been a little more hopeful.
No, never mind.
But I mean, I guess I'm just saying tabling that seemed to be the right decision given where we're at
I
today.
heard that, the governor and the Senate and House made their decision purely based off of my attempts to secure human service loans
Yep,
here in Dauphin
exactly.
County. So,
They heard that and they were like, "How
Yeah.
we gotta find it. We gotta find a resolution."
Federal government shut down as well at the same time.
All right. Well, I have no other questions. I'll hand it over to my colleagues.
Where's your loss of revenue again?
That's in reimbursements for supplies. So it's kind of the corresponding decrease with expenses. The less we order, the less people buy, the less we collect revenue for. So less orders, less money generated, but also less spent on buying supplies.
So those loss in revenues are probably reflect somewhere else in the budget. Someone spending less. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
When supplies are ordered for the stock room, they're charged to my cost center. As departments order them, or any of our co-op purchasing partners order them, we charge them either to our departments or collect money back from the vendors, and that's what gets deposited as revenue.
No chance to up the external vendor fees.
Always a chance.
And
Certainly
delivery
something we can
fees
discuss.
specifically,
Yes.
right? For those that we deliver to for free.
Mhm. Yeah.
Are these municipalities primarily, or who's part of our purchasing co-op? Is that like local municipalities?
Mainly the municipalities. We have a few other agencies, the Ben Smith Center.
Okay.
And I forget the other ones offhand. Wildwood's under Parks and Rec. I forget, but I can get you guys a list of everyone who's involved in the program.
All right, thank you.
I just want to comment to Eric that we continue to take a hard look at contracts that exist within the county. Eric, you and I just talked about one today that expires at the end of December, and I think we owe it to our residents. I know Pam has brought this topic up on multiple occasions, coming here as a resident within the community. I think that when these contracts, wherever they're at, whether it be legal contracts, whether it be engineering contracts, whether it be specific individual contracts, when they come up, we need to make sure that we take a hard look at them and whether we're getting the best bang for our buck.
Thanks, Chris. We'll now open it up for public comment. Anyone for public comment?
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Pamela Parsons, City of Harrisburg. This is what my paper looks like for today. I'd just like to thank Mr. Davis and Mr. Haggerty for all your work on this, and that this is being live streamed and it's available to the public in the way that it is. I think, considering the very sobering news that Mr. Haggerty shared about our deficits over the coming 3 years, that's really important for everyone to be able to hear that. And I do not envy being in your positions right now. I did hear Commissioner Hartwick say at one time today, want to make sure that saving money isn't costing us money. And I think that is also an important thing to keep in mind as you work through these budgets. I heard several people talk about affordable housing. I heard a housing study mentioned. As we're talking about budgets and things getting tight, I think it's important to think about that this area, according to what studies you look at, is one of the lesser affordable housing markets in the country. It's anywhere from 3 to 5% more expensive than the national average. Why that is, I do not know. But it's been that way for decades. This is not new. For There are 31 affordable housing units available in Dauphin County for every 100 extremely low income renters. And that can be a household. And that doesn't matter if we're talking about the city of Harrisburg or all the way to Upper Dauphin County. And we have to face the fact that we have a lot of rural poverty in our county as well. Medium rental across the county is $1,262. And if you're getting a new apartment, you need 3 times that for security. The average household needs to bring in just under $45,500 to be able to make that kind of rent. And Harrisburg is almost at the bottom of all states when looking at new affordable housing construction, according to Pew. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hartwick, seconded by Commissioner Priest. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We're adjourned.